Hi, I'm Lea Chapin. I just brought forth a message from the Pleiadians about the energy here in Cairo. Some of you may already have watched it, and if those who have not watched it yet, we're just sharing the feedback with Jared Willis and Teresa Blackburn from that information that was brought forward about the collective consciousness energy that is entrapped here in Cairo, Egypt, and really is around the globe, but it seems to be here in Cairo next to these beautiful pyramids where the energy has been emitted from our galactic brothers and sisters, the infusement of the powerful frequency of love and light, but the collective energies of human consciousness has also been entrapped here. So everything is duality. So as that energy of purity comes in, those who are able to receive it are awakening, those who are not able to receive it are, as we say, moving and stuck into that collective darkness. So that was our last video, and I just wanted to get feedback from the group that is with me, that's traveling with me here on this amazing journey. So Teresa, I'll go ahead and start with you to see what your thoughts or what your feelings were about that.
Well, Lea, I was calling in the light rays as you were channeling that beautiful message, and it made me wonder, as the light comes into the pyramid, and we know it was a great power source for the entire earth and connected through all the grid lines, my question was, how did the individuals back in the ancient civilizations connect with the light from the pyramid? Mm-hmm. Was there a practice of going in the pyramid and getting it, or did they stay outside, or how did they do it individually as using that power source?
Greetings, dear one. We are the Pleiadian Council of Light. The individuals throughout time have used the breath. They have connected through the breath, through the high heart, to infuse the powerful frequency of these energies into the physicality. And so as always, the power of the breath. And as our beloved messenger, Christ, has brought forth his 12 tools of enlightenment, the 12 frequencies to call in the energy of the elixir of life. Again, it is through the breath that is infused and admitted from the high heart in to the physical consciousness of all humans. And several years ago, Christ brought through the 12 tools of enlightenment. I have it on a CD, but that is also in my book, Divine Union, the love story of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. It's a bonus to the book. Some of you may know my book, Divine Union. It's a love story of Mary and Jesus as twin flames, but it also has a greater message that Jesus and Mary Magdalene left their imprints here for all of us to step into. They have left their energy of sacred balance, of the sacred feminine and the sacred masculine for all of us to walk into their footprints. So that is essentially what my book is about. And the 12 tools are literally a tool to help you to bring the higher light codes in, to bring the energy of the Christ consciousness energy to ascend into the Christ consciousness, to ascend into your I am presence. So to answer your question, Teresa, he's saying that these 12 tools were used, and in the 12 tools, it was always the breath. So the breath is how you connect in through the high heart, is how they received it.
Thank you. So, makes sense.
Yeah. And Jared, you've had comments?
Well, sure. We were just talking last night after we came back from Cairo, and a bit after your video just now, and I think, I've been coming to Cairo for over 15 years, dozens of times, and you see the changes, and you also react, but also become somewhat desensitized in some ways, or have to shield yourself from some of the disturbing and the chaotic energies. I think this time, with the work that we're doing, I've thought more than ever, not just thinking that this was a third world country, a big capital in a third world country, but wondering the symbolism of the ancient Egyptians, being the custodians and the recipients and the guardians of the pyramids, and obviously the ancient civilization, and then seeing the contrasts and what's happening today, both here physically at the pyramids and in general in Egypt, in terms of their connection with ancient Egypt and their responsibility or guardianship over the pyramids in these days. I think I've been wondering how much what's happening in Egypt really represents the world, and not just a third world country like Egypt, and wondering if, you know, us in the West are like some very wealthy neighborhoods here in Cairo that are, you know, living that way because they can benefit from the natural resources and the labor that is in other countries and shield it from them. So perhaps, you know, I'm wondering if Egypt is more of a, unfortunately, a representation of the entire world rather than some microcosm here that's not really connected to us. And I guess I had a question for you. I've been wondering, going back to my first comment about, you know, why the pyramids were put in Egypt, why they were gifted to the Egyptian civilization at the time, and, you know, if you have any comment on, you know, the Egyptians that are here today and their responsibility for the pyramids, our responsibility for the pyramids, any parallels between back then, and obviously there's a reawakening now, which we're here to discuss and to be a part of, and how that connects. It's not very articulate, but I know you'll be able to make some sense of it.
As to your question, we are the Pleiadian Council of Light. The Great Pyramids were infused here, for it was aligned astrologically to our frequencies in the Galactic Council, as it is aligned to Arcturia, to Andromeda, to the Pleiades, to the star system of Sirius. It was astrologically aligned here. This is why the pyramids were built, as this was a central point upon your earth plane at that time, that we were able to transmute our energies here into this region most readily. As for your question as to why the current Egyptian civilization are not honoring the Great Pyramids, or simply living in, as we have said, this cesspool of energy of darkness, the souls that have chosen to incarnate here have chosen to hold their physical bodies as conduits, literally as conduits, as spirit beings. And please do not judge them. Please do not berate them. Please hold compassion and mercy for these souls who have chosen to incarnate into this region. That is why there is a mass population of souls here in the city of Cairo. They are holding their physical bodies as conduits, partially, consciously. Many of them are not conscious of the roles that they are playing, of holding and carrying their light for this region. Every spirit is of light. Every spirit is of love. And yet the human consciousness does not always hold this attribute in the expression of the physicality. And yet the massive amount of souls that are congested here, that are born here, that are embodied here, that are living here, simply are holding the frequency of light. And yet the duality, as we have said, of the human consciousness appears to be the reality of what is. For it is not an easy answer to explain, but understand the souls that have incarnated here, have chosen to be here. It's chosen to hold their physical bodies as conduits for the expression of the duality. Now the time has come for the duality and the separation to no longer be held in the lower frequencies. And they're asking you, does that make any sense, or have they confused you?
I need to think about it. But I have to be honest, I feel like it's a bit of an evasive answer. It's sort of like when you talk about souls who volunteered to die in a plane crash or to be in a typhoon or a tsunami, and that's part of their soul contract and their intended purpose on the earth. So I feel like that makes sense, but also skirts the issue of the reality of how, like I said, maybe it's a representation of where the planet is, but the fact that it's not treated like a temple and it's treated like a source for monetary gain and exploitation of foreigners that come here, and they're not respected even inside the pyramid, next to the pyramid, at the gate of the pyramid. There's no respect for them. I have to speak honestly about how disturbing that is.
We understand your frustration. We are answering your question. We are saying these souls have chose to incarnate here. This is their collective, what we call collective, it is a collective group karma that have chosen to be here. Just as collective souls have chosen to be in other countries for other reasons, for other purposes. And yet, yes, the collective human consciousness of the lower vibrational frequency is what we call the duality and the separation consciousness. So we understand your frustration. We are letting you know once again that this energy that has collected here, the consciousness of those that you find frustrating, this is a part of the human collective. This is the energy that shall be released, is being released, and why you are here this week to clear and assist in clearing this frequency. It is not for you to become upset. It is not for you to become frustrated. It's for you to hold the intention that you are here for purpose and good. You are here to bring this energy in the purest form in assisting this. And as we have said, to not judge the situation. Yes, it is frustrating. It is of your human nature to be angry and confused. And yet, please leave this to the higher realms. We here have a divine plan. There is divine order. And yet, yes, there is free will choice upon your planet. It is difficult to comprehend. It is difficult to answer your question most directly. This channel is not able to answer it in a better form than what she can explain now. But it is for you to understand that this is a part of the free will choice of the collective human consciousness that again has been infused not only in this region but around the globe. Again, the pyramids are like a magnet. What is being brought here through the galactic light is either creating greater joy in those who are able to receive and creating greater separation or disconnection from the true spirit essence. Again, it is free will choice. And they want to know, do you understand that? Or is that still confusing?
Yeah, I think the way I understand it is how we talked about it earlier is just as mankind as a collective is exploiting the earth or exploiting its spiritual gifts or its connection with the stars. So here the Egyptian people, the souls that have chosen to incarnate here, are representing that which is a part of all of us, a part of our humanity. Mm-hmm. And so they're volunteering to play that role, but really that role is representative of humanity, the sad state of humanity, I would say, or the reality of humanity as a whole. So it's not individual, it's not to be, obviously not to be judged. They're a part of us. They're like a toe or a finger of the humanity and showing in an amplified form the reality of the state of the collective consciousness. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are here holding their spirits, which is light here, and yet because the pyramids are such an amplifying force, a generator, you have a choice. You have a choice. You're going to receive the joy. The people come here and they receive, just like Holland has received, you've received, Teresa's received, you're receiving the frequencies. and yet not all souls are at the same vibrational level. And so this is the collective energy. This is, they call this cesspool of the darkness, of the separation. This is really the representation of the whole, and it's they're just continuing to tell me not to judge it. We're here to help clear it. That's why they're here. That's why we've been asked. So the galactic beings are helping this planet more than humans can really understand. And we, the humans who wish to help serve, I can say for myself how I feel. I feel the duality very deeply. And what the Pleiadians and the Council are trying to do and what's happening. So we're here holding the energy to the best of our abilities to assist, humanity and assist and work. To bring healing to our planet.
Lee, can I help answer that?
Sure.
I know Jared's frustrated, and I think the answer is what Jesus told me when we were getting ready to come here. One of the instructions was to prepare our body as a vessel, prepare our hearts especially by bringing in the light and purifying our hearts with the light, and then like the great monk Thich Nhat Hanh taught us, this was one of the instructions, to, after we've prepared our hearts with the light, they want us to breathe in this frustration in this whole area of the Middle East. Breathe in the hate and transmute it and exhale it back out as love. Breathe in the stress and exhale it back out of our hearts, transformed into peace. Breathe in the hate and transform it and breathe it back out as joy. So that's really what we're here to do. Like you said, we're here to transmute it, and we're going to use our bodies as that vessel to do that work. We're recruiting more, like Marissa and her daughter and some of the gals in Cyprus. So we're picking up friends along the way to help do this work.
Yeah.
So that's what you can do. We'll breathe in what needs to be transmuted with our prepared and purified hearts, and we'll exhale it into a higher vibration, so that eventually the whole area will be transformed.
Thank you. That's lovely. Thank you for explaining that and sharing that. So we'll close this energy as we thank the Pleiadians and the Galactic Federation for bringing this energy forward to assist us as conduits, and we thank the Great Pyramids for their beautiful essence and energy as they have held strong and steady for humanity as the generating force, the living light of God upon this planet. We are